Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, The English Globe. I hope you all are doing very well today. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Adam, and as always, I am here with my good friend Julia. Together, we are here to help you improve your English in a fun, easy, and professional way. Today we have a very special episode for you. We are going to talk about a very exciting and inspiring topic. Our topic today is how successful people change the world. This is going to be a long and interesting conversation, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy learning English with us. Now, why is this topic so important? Well, when we hear stories about people who became successful and made a big difference in the world, we feel motivated, we feel stronger, we start to believe that maybe we can do something great too. And when you are learning English, it is important to fill your mind with positive, powerful ideas. Listening to success stories will not only help you learn new English words and sentences, but it will also give you new energy to keep working hard on your dreams. So today, we will talk about what success really means, what successful people do, and how they change the world for the better.
Hello everyone. It's so good to be here with you again. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us today. I am very excited about today's topic too. Success is something that everyone talks about, but sometimes we do not really stop and think, what is true success? Is it about having a lot of money? Is it about becoming famous? Or is it about doing something that makes other people's lives better? In this podcast, we are going to explore these ideas together in simple, easy English, so that all of you, even if you are beginners, can understand everything clearly. We will share with you many interesting examples of people who started with nothing but a dream. They worked hard, they stayed positive, and they never gave up. Because of their efforts, they changed the world. Some of them created amazing inventions. Some of them helped millions of people live better lives. Some of them changed the way we think about life itself. Their stories are full of lessons that we can use in our own lives, no matter who we are or where we are from.
Yes, exactly, Julia. And don't worry, everyone. We are going to speak slowly, use easy words, and explain everything clearly. Our goal is to help you learn new English words, understand the correct way to make sentences, and improve your listening skills. At the same time, we want you to feel inspired and excited about your future. Because believe me, learning English is a big part of success too. When you learn English, you open the door to new opportunities, new friends, new jobs, and even new adventures. So, you are already on the road to success by being here today and practicing English with us.
That's right, Adam. So today we invite you to listen carefully, enjoy the stories, and imagine yourself as a successful person too. Because success is not only for a few special people. It is for anyone who is ready to dream big, work hard, and never give up. That includes you, my dear listener. Yes, you. You have the power inside you to do great things. You just need to believe it and take small steps every day. And we are here to walk with you on this journey.
Wonderful words, Julia. Thank you. And before we start, let me give you a small tip. If you want to improve your English even faster, you can listen to this podcast 2 or 3 times. The first time, just listen and enjoy. The second time, try to repeat some sentences after us. The third time, try to write down some new words or phrases you learned. This way, you will practice listening, speaking, and writing, all in one activity. And the more you practice, the better you will become.
That's a great idea, Adam. Also, don't forget to smile while learning. When you smile, you feel more positive. And when you feel positive, your brain learns faster. Learning English should be fun and exciting, not stressful. We are all here to support you and help you every step of the way.
All right, Julia. Are you ready to start this amazing journey into the world of success?
I am ready, Adam. Let's begin. Let's talk about what success really means and how successful people change the world. Let's inspire our listeners today.
Perfect. So, dear listeners, are you ready? Let's dive in and start this beautiful conversation. Stay with us until the end because we have so much to share with you. Let's go. All right, everyone, welcome again to the English Globe. Before we dive deep into our main topic today and start talking about the powerful ways that successful people have changed the world, Julia and I would like to first take a few minutes to have a small, friendly conversation. We believe that warming up with an easy and relaxed talk is very important, especially when you are learning English, because it helps you to feel more comfortable, more connected, and more ready to understand everything that will come next. So, Julia, let me start by asking you a simple but very interesting question. What does success mean to you personally? When you hear the word success, what is the first thing that comes into your mind, and how does it make you feel?
That is such a beautiful question, Adam, and I am really happy to answer it because it is something I think about often. For me, when I hear the word success, I do not immediately think about big houses, expensive cars, or having a lot of money in the bank. Instead, I think about something much deeper and much more important. I think about living a life where I feel truly happy, truly peaceful, and truly proud of who I am and what I am doing every day. Success for me is about waking up every morning and feeling excited about the work I will do, because I know that my work is helping other people, even if it is in small ways. It is about looking at myself in the mirror and knowing that I am doing my best, that I am growing, learning, and becoming a better person with each new day. Of course, having enough money to take care of your needs is important, but in my heart, I believe that real success is not measured by money. It is measured by the amount of joy, love, and meaning you create in your life and in the lives of others. That is what success truly means to me. What about you, Adam? How do you see success in your own life?
Wow, Julia, I really love the way you explained that because it shows that you have a very wise and kind heart. I completely agree with you. For me, success is also something much deeper than just material things. When I think about success, I think about growth. I think about becoming a better version of myself every single day, even if the progress is small and slow. I believe that true success is about learning new skills, gaining new knowledge, and using what you learn to make the world a little better than it was before. It is about staying kind to people, even when life is difficult. It is about helping others, even when you are busy with your own problems. And it is about living a life that feels full of purpose and meaning, a life where you know that your time on this earth has made a difference. To me, if you can go to sleep at night feeling proud of who you are and feeling thankful for the opportunities you have, then you are already successful, no matter how much money or fame you have.
Yes, Adam, that is so true and so powerful. I think one of the biggest mistakes many people make today is that they only look at the results they see on television or on social media. They see famous actors, singers, business people, or athletes smiling with their awards, living in big houses, traveling the world, and they think, wow, they are so lucky, or I wish I could be like them. But what they don't see is the years and years of hard work, the failures, the disappointments, the late nights, the sacrifices, and the moments of doubt that every successful person has gone through. Behind every beautiful success story, there is always a long, difficult journey that most people never notice. It is important for us to remember that success is not magic, and it does not happen overnight. It is built slowly, with a lot of patience, dedication, and belief in yourself, even when nobody else believes in you yet.
Absolutely, Julia. You know, sometimes we compare ourselves to others and feel like we are not good enough because we have not reached their level of success yet. But that is not fair to ourselves because we are comparing our beginning to someone else's middle or someone else's ending. Each person's journey is different. Some people find success when they are young, others find it later in life. Some people take a straight road, others take a road full of turns, mountains, and valleys. The important thing is to stay focused on your own path and to keep moving forward, step by step, no matter how small the steps may seem. Even one small step toward your goal is a big victory because it means you are growing. And when we keep going with faith, hope, and hard work, we become successful in ways that are even bigger and more beautiful than we can imagine today.
Exactly, Adam. I also believe that success looks different for different people, and that is okay. For one person, success might mean starting a company and creating thousands of jobs for others. For another person, success might mean raising a happy and healthy family. For someone else, success might mean teaching young children to read, or planting trees to protect the environment, or writing a book that touches people's hearts. There are so many different ways to be successful because each person has their own unique gifts, dreams, and missions in life. What matters most is that you find what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel happy, and you follow that path with love and courage.
That is such an important message, Julia, and I hope all of our listeners remember it. You do not have to follow someone else's idea of success. You can create your own definition of success that fits your dreams, your values, and your heart. And the wonderful thing is, when you focus on doing what you love and helping others along the way, you naturally start to create a better world around you. Just like the successful people we are going to talk about today, you have the power to change the world in your own special way. So, as we continue with this podcast, I want you to keep one important thought in your mind. You are capable of great things. Now that we have shared our personal thoughts about success, it is time to look a little deeper and ask an even bigger question. What exactly is success? Is success something that is the same for every person, or is it something different for everyone? And how can we recognize success when we see it, especially when it comes in so many different shapes and sizes? Let's take some time to explore this idea more carefully, because understanding what success really means is the first important step in learning how successful people can change the world. Success, at its core, is not only about reaching a final goal or winning a big prize. Success is about the journey you take to grow into the best version of yourself, and it is about the positive impact you create in the lives of other people along the way. In fact, some of the most successful people in history were not necessarily the richest, the most famous, or the most powerful people, but they were the ones who never gave up on their dreams, the ones who stayed true to their values, and the ones who made life better for others, even if their names are not always remembered in history books.
That's very true, Adam. And I think it's important for all of us, especially our wonderful listeners who are learning English and dreaming about their futures, to understand that success is not a simple or small thing. It is a big idea that includes many different parts of life. For example, success can mean achieving personal goals like graduating from school, learning a new skill, building strong relationships with family and friends, traveling to new places, or even becoming more confident in yourself. Success can also mean achieving professional goals like starting your own business, becoming a great teacher, writing a book, building a beautiful garden, or helping to solve problems in your community. And sometimes, success is not something the whole world can see. Sometimes, success is quiet and private, like overcoming your fears, healing from past hurts, forgiving someone who hurt you, or finding peace after a long struggle. These are also great victories that show personal success, even if nobody else notices. In the end, success is very personal. It depends on your dreams, your values, and your own definition of what a good and meaningful life looks like for you.
Exactly, Julia. And I really love the way you describe that because it shows that success is not just about outside things like awards, money, or applause. It is deeply connected to the inside world of a person, their heart, their dreams, their struggles, and their growth. And another important thing to remember is that success is not something that happens quickly. Many times, when we see a successful person standing on a big stage, receiving a prize, or giving a famous speech, we might think they were lucky, or that success just came easily to them. But if we could look behind the curtain of their lives, we would see years of hard work, long nights of study, moments of doubt, many failures, and thousands of small steps that built their path little by little. The truth is, success is often invisible while it is happening. It is built in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. It is built by practicing when you feel tired, by trying again after you fail, by believing in yourself when it feels easier to give up. That is why real success is so powerful. It comes from deep inside a person, from their courage, their patience, their hard work, and their unshakable hope.
That's so inspiring, Adam. And it reminds me of a beautiful quote I once heard. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. This means that every little action you take toward your dream, even if it seems tiny today, is actually building your future success. Every page you read, every new word you learn, every kind thing you do, every mistake you correct, every goal you set and work on, all of these small things come together over time to create a life full of success and meaning. And that's why I think it's so important for all of us, no matter where we are in our journey, to celebrate the small victories. If today you learned a new English word, that is a victory. If today you took one small step toward your dream, that is a success. If today you were a little kinder, a little braver, or a little more patient, that is a wonderful achievement. Success is not only about the big moments that everyone claps for. It is about the quiet progress you make when nobody else sees it.
That's such a wonderful point, Julia, and it reminds me that successful people often have one thing in common. They know how to keep going even when the progress feels slow, even when success feels far away, and even when they feel tired or discouraged. They understand that success is not a straight road. It is a long, winding road with many ups and downs, with many days when things go wrong, and with many moments when they have to be their own biggest supporters. The truth is, the world does not always believe in you right away. Sometimes people might laugh at your dreams. Sometimes people might tell you that you are wasting your time. But successful people learn to listen to the quiet voice inside their own hearts. The voice that says, "Keep going. You are doing something important. You are building something beautiful." And that voice becomes their guide, their strength, and their secret weapon against doubt and fear.
Yes, Adam. And I think one of the most amazing things about success is that it doesn't just change the life of the person who becomes successful, it also changes the lives of many other people around them. When someone decides to follow their dreams and not give up, they inspire others to do the same. When someone builds a new company, they create jobs for many families. When someone writes a beautiful song or a powerful book, they touch the hearts of people they have never even met. When someone stands up for justice, kindness, or truth, they make the world a better place for all of us. This is why understanding success is so important, because successful people do not only live better lives for themselves, they create ripples that spread out and lift up the world. They show us what is possible, they teach us to believe, they give us hope, and they prove that even one person with courage, with love, and with hard work can make a difference that lasts for generations.
That's so beautifully said, Julia. And it sets the perfect stage for the next part of our podcast, where we will look at real-life stories of successful people who changed the world. We will see how their journeys were full of challenges, full of failures, and full of lessons. And yet, because they never gave up, they were able to create incredible changes, not only for themselves, but for millions of others. So, everyone, stay with us as we dive into these amazing stories. And as you listen, remember this. Every great success starts with a simple decision: to believe in yourself, to take the first step, and to keep going no matter what. All right, everyone. Now that we have talked about what success really means and how it grows slowly through hard work, patience, and a strong heart, let's move into one of the most exciting parts of our podcast today: which is learning about real-life examples of successful people who truly changed the world. These are men and women from different times, different countries, and different backgrounds, but what they all have in common is that they believed in a dream, worked hard for many years, and made a huge impact on the lives of millions, even billions, of people around the globe. We hope that by listening to their stories, you will feel more inspired to chase your own dreams and to remember that even one person, even you, can create a big and positive change in the world.
Yes, Adam. And I think the first story we should share is about a woman who changed the world through her kindness, her courage, and her deep love for humanity. I am talking about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was born in a small place called Skopje, which is now the capital of North Macedonia, and from a very young age, she felt a strong calling in her heart to help the poor and the suffering. She became a Catholic nun and spent most of her life in India, where she founded a group called the Missionaries of Charity, which worked to take care of the sick, the dying, the homeless, and the people that society often forgets. Mother Teresa did not have lots of money, and she did not seek fame or rewards, but through her simple daily acts of love and service, she touched millions of lives. She showed the world that real success is not measured by how much you have, but by how much you give. She won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979, but even after receiving such a big honor, she continued to live simply, spending every day serving the poor. Her life teaches us that one person, with a heart full of love and compassion, can change the world in powerful ways without needing anything more than a willingness to help.
That is such a beautiful and powerful story, Julia, and it shows us that success can be quiet and humble, but still incredibly strong. Another person who changed the world in a very different way is Thomas Edison. Now, many of you may already know that Thomas Edison was the inventor of the light bulb, but what you might not know is that his road to success was full of failure, rejection, and hard lessons. Edison did not become successful overnight. In fact, it is said that he failed more than 1,000 times before finally inventing a working light bulb. Imagine trying something again and again, failing again and again, and still believing that you can succeed. Most people would have given up after a few tries, but Edison believed in his idea so deeply that he refused to stop until he found a solution. Because of his perseverance, today we have electric lights that make our lives brighter and safer. Edison's story reminds us that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Every time you fail, you learn something new, and every lesson brings you one step closer to your dream.
Exactly, Adam, and that brings me to another wonderful example of success that changed the world, and that is the story of Malala Yousafzai. Malala is a young woman from Pakistan who believed that every girl should have the right to go to school and get an education. In her country, it was very dangerous for girls to speak out about education rights, but Malala was brave enough to raise her voice even when her life was at risk. At just 15 years old, she was attacked by people who did not want her to continue fighting for education. But even after such a terrible event, Malala did not give up. Instead, she grew even stronger, traveling around the world to speak about the importance of education for every child, especially girls. She became the youngest person ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And today, she continues to inspire millions of young people to believe in themselves and to fight for their dreams. Malala's story shows us that success is not only about reaching personal goals, it is also about standing up for what is right, even when it is difficult or dangerous.
That's such a powerful example, Julia, and it proves that sometimes success means using your voice to make the world better, even when it feels scary. Another story I want to share is about Nelson Mandela, a man from South Africa who spent more than 27 years in prison because he fought against a system of unfair laws that separated people based on the color of their skin. Mandela believed in equality, in freedom, and in the idea that all human beings deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Even though he lost almost 3 decades of his life in prison, he never lost his hope, his kindness, or his dream for a better South Africa. After he was finally released, instead of seeking revenge, he worked to bring peace and forgiveness to his country, and he later became South Africa's first black president. Nelson Mandela's story shows us that true success is about patience, forgiveness, and the courage to believe in a better future even when everything around you looks dark.
These stories are so inspiring, Adam, and they remind us that successful people come from many different places and backgrounds, and they follow many different paths. Some change the world through invention, like Edison. Some change it through service, like Mother Teresa. Some change it through fighting for justice, like Malala and Mandela. But in every story, there is a common theme: belief, hard work, courage, and a dream that is bigger than personal gain. And the amazing thing is, these successful people were not born with superpowers. They were ordinary people who made extraordinary choices. They decided to keep going when it was hard. They decided to believe when others doubted. They decided to stand up when it would have been easier to sit down. And because of those decisions, the world is a better place today.
Exactly, Julia. And that brings us to a very important truth. The power to change the world does not belong only to famous people or to people with lots of money. It belongs to every single one of us. Every time you help someone, every time you share your knowledge, every time you make someone's life a little brighter, you are participating in the beautiful work of changing the world for the better. And that, my friends, is what true success is all about. So, as we move forward in today's podcast, we want you to think about this question. What dream is in your heart? What difference do you want to make in the world? No matter how small your dream may seem today, it has the power to grow into something amazing if you just keep believing, keep working, and never give up.
Now that we have shared some powerful stories of real people who changed the world through their courage, kindness, and determination, let's take a little time to talk about some very important lessons we can all learn from their lives. Because when we look carefully at their journeys, we realize that success is not just about talent or luck. It is mostly about habits, choices, and a way of thinking that anyone, including you and me, can learn and practice every single day if we are willing to try.
That's right, Julia. And the first big lesson that I believe we can all learn from successful people is the importance of believing in yourself even when no one else does. Because if we look at the stories of people like Thomas Edison, Malala Yousafzai, or Nelson Mandela, we see that at many points in their lives, there were people who doubted them, people who told them they would fail, people who tried to stop them, but they did not allow those negative voices to control their dreams. Instead, they kept believing in their goals and in their ability to make a difference, and this strong self-belief gave them the energy to keep moving forward even in the darkest times.
Exactly, Adam. And when we are trying to achieve something important in life, we will always meet obstacles. And sometimes those obstacles come from outside. Maybe people will tell us we are not smart enough, not good enough, not ready yet. But sometimes, the biggest obstacle can be the voice inside our own mind that says, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, or it's too hard. And what we learn from successful people is that we must be careful about the words we say to ourselves, because if we tell ourselves again and again that we can succeed, that we can find a way, then little by little, our mind will become stronger and our dreams will become more real.
Another important lesson that shines very brightly from the lives of successful people is the value of never giving up. Because every great achievement in history was built on a foundation of persistence. And persistence simply means not quitting when things get hard, not stopping when the road feels long, and not giving up even when you feel tired. Because when we hear about Thomas Edison trying thousands of times to invent the light bulb, or when we hear about Nelson Mandela spending 27 years in prison but still believing in a better South Africa, We realize that success is not something that happens quickly or easily, but something that requires deep patience and a strong, never-quit attitude.
And I think, Adam, that it's also very important to see that successful people are not people who never fail. In fact, most successful people have failed many more times than they have succeeded. But what makes them different is that they do not let failure stop them forever, because they understand that every failure is not the end, but simply a lesson, a teacher that shows them what to do better next time. So instead of feeling ashamed of failure, they welcome it as part of the process. And that is a mindset we can all practice in our daily lives, whether we are learning English, starting a business, working on a dream, or simply trying to improve ourselves.
You are absolutely right, Julia. And I want to add one more beautiful lesson that we can learn, which is the power of helping others while you grow. Because when we look at Mother Teresa, for example, we see a woman who dedicated her entire life not to building wealth or fame for herself, but to serving others with love and compassion. And even people like Malala and Mandela used their voices, their time, and their strength, not just for themselves, but for millions of others. And this teaches us that real success is not selfish. It is generous. It is about lifting others up, sharing your knowledge, offering your help, and leaving the world a little better than you found it.
Yes. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things to remember, because sometimes the world around us tells us that success is about being richer than other people, or more famous than other people, or better than other people. But the stories of the most successful and admired people show us something very different. They show us that true success is about service, about kindness, about using your talents to make life better for someone else, even in small ways. Even in quiet ways that no one may see, because when we lift others, we also lift ourselves.
Another lesson we can clearly see is the idea that small steps matter a lot, because when we look at the lives of great achievers, we see that they did not create big changes all at once. They made small choices every day, choices to keep learning, to keep trying, to keep showing up, even when it was boring, even when it was tiring, even when no one was watching. And over time, all those small daily steps added up to something huge and powerful that changed the world. So if you are listening today and you feel like your dream is too big or too far away, remember that success is not about doing one huge thing in one day. It is about doing small, positive things every day, little by little, step by step.
That is so important, Adam, and I would also say that successful people teach us the power of lifelong learning, because people like Thomas Edison never stopped asking questions, never stopped trying new things, and people like Malala and Mandela continued to grow, to learn, to adapt even when they faced huge challenges. And this teaches us that no matter how much we know today, there is always something new to learn tomorrow, and that staying curious, staying open, staying humble, these are keys that open the doors to greater and greater success over time.
Exactly, Julia. And finally, I would say that one of the deepest lessons we can take from successful people is the importance of hope. Because hope is the quiet but powerful belief that tomorrow can be better than today, and that no matter how dark things look now, the light will come if we just keep moving forward. And when we read the lives of people like Nelson Mandela, who spent so many years in a small prison cell but never lost his hope for freedom, or Malala, who survived an attack but kept hoping for a better world for girls, we realize that hope is not a weak feeling. It is a strong choice, and if we choose hope every day, we can build a life that is strong, beautiful, and full of positive change.
Now, dear friends, after hearing these powerful and inspiring stories of people who faced great challenges but still changed the world with their determination, kindness, and courage, you might be sitting there and asking yourself, what about me? How can I, an ordinary person, start my own journey towards success and make a positive difference in my life and maybe even in the world? And the beautiful truth is that success is not something that is given only to special people or people who are born lucky. No, Success is something that anyone can reach if they are willing to start small, to believe deeply, and to continue moving forward one step at a time, even when the path feels long or uncertain. So today we want to talk with you about a few simple but powerful ways you can begin your own journey, starting right now, no matter where you are or what your situation looks like.
Yes, Julia. And I think the very first and perhaps most important step anyone can take toward building a successful life is to set a clear and exciting goal for themselves. Because without a clear goal, it is like trying to sail a ship across the ocean without a map or a destination. You may move, but you will not reach anywhere special. But when you know exactly what you want, whether it is to improve your English, start your own business, become a teacher, write a book, or help your community, that clear dream gives you energy, direction, and a reason to keep going every day, even when things are hard. So if you have never really sat down and asked yourself, what do I truly want in my life? Maybe today is the perfect day to take a notebook, find a quiet moment, and write down your dreams as clearly and as bravely as you can.
That's such a great point, Adam. And after you set a goal that feels exciting and real for you, the next important thing is to break your big dream into small, manageable steps. Because sometimes when we only look at the final big picture, it can feel very scary and impossible, like trying to climb a huge mountain without any plan. But when you break your dream into small daily actions, such as practicing English for 15 minutes every day, reading one new book every month, or writing one page each morning, those small actions will start to add up little by little. And before you even realize it, you will find yourself higher and stronger than you ever imagined. And this is exactly how all successful people work. Not by making giant leaps every day, but by taking small steps again and again without giving up.
Exactly, Julia. And another important part of starting your journey is to build good habits. Because when we create strong, positive habits, we do not have to use a lot of energy to make good choices every day. The good choices become automatic, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. And these small daily habits like waking up early, reading every day, writing your plans in a notebook, or practicing speaking English out loud may seem small in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, 2 small habits that you can do every single day without fail, even when you feel tired or busy, because the real magic is hidden in the consistency, not in the size of the action.
That is very true, Adam. And I would also say that as you begin walking on your journey towards success, it is very important to remember that you must be kind and patient with yourself. Because there will be days when you feel full of energy and confidence, but there will also be days when you feel tired, when you feel doubt, when you feel like you are not moving fast enough or doing well enough. And on those difficult days, the most powerful thing you can do is to treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. With encouragement, with forgiveness, with love. Because success is not about being perfect every day. It is about staying committed to your dream even when you fall down, even when you feel afraid, and even when progress feels very slow. Because in the end, the people who succeed are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who always stand back up.
And I think another beautiful thing to remember, Julia, is that you do not have to walk this path alone. Because even though your dream is unique to you, there are always people around you who can support you, inspire you, and help you stay strong. Whether it is family members, good friends, teachers, online communities, or even books and podcasts like this one. And when you connect with people who also believe in dreams, who also work hard, who also stay positive, it becomes much easier to keep your own energy high and your own heart hopeful. So never be afraid to ask for help, to share your dreams, to learn from others, and to remember that the journey of success is much more joyful when it is shared with people who lift you up rather than bring you down.
I love that, Adam. And finally, I want to say to all of our wonderful listeners that the most important thing you can do to start your journey today is to simply begin. because sometimes we wait and wait, thinking we need the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect feeling. But the truth is that nothing will ever be completely perfect. And if you wait too long, your dream may fade away. But if you start today, even with a small action, even with a little step, you are telling the world and yourself, I am ready. And that small beginning will open the door to bigger and bigger possibilities over time. So do not be afraid of starting small. Just be brave enough to start. And trust that your future will grow brighter with every step you take.
One of the most powerful things we have learned while studying the lives of successful people, both in the past and in the present, is that they are not just working for money or fame or recognition. They are usually driven by something much deeper, something that comes from the heart, something that gives meaning to every early morning, every late night, every hard decision, and every painful failure. And this powerful force is called purpose, which means they have a strong reason behind everything they do. A reason that is bigger than comfort, bigger than fear, and bigger than just personal success. And when you have a purpose like that, a dream that helps other people, a vision that solves a real problem, a goal that lifts others up, then you become stronger, more focused, and more determined, even when the road is not easy.
That's right, Adam. And when we look at people like Mother Teresa, who dedicated her life to caring for the poor and sick, or Martin Luther King Jr., who gave his voice, his time, and even his life to fight for equality and human rights, or even Malala Yousafzai, who risked her safety to stand up for the education of girls, we see that their purpose gave them the strength to continue when others gave up. Because a deep purpose gives you the emotional fuel to keep moving forward, and it turns your work into something beautiful. Something that touches lives, changes hearts, and builds a better world. And this is why so many successful people are remembered not just for what they did, but for why they did it, because their mission touched people deeply.
And the beautiful part is, you don't need to be famous or powerful to have a purpose. Your purpose can be as simple as helping your family, teaching children, becoming a role model, starting a project in your community, or just using your voice to bring hope and kindness into the lives of people around you. Because success that lasts, success that truly matters, does not come from selfish goals. It comes from helping others, solving problems, sharing knowledge, and bringing light to places where there is darkness. So if you are serious about building a successful life, start by asking yourself one big question. What is the reason behind my dream? And when you find a reason that feels important to your heart, that purpose will carry you through anything.
And I think this is one of the biggest secrets of true success. That when you stop thinking only about yourself and start thinking about the people you can serve, the problems you can solve, or the ways you can improve the world in your own small way, everything changes. Your energy grows, your confidence increases, your voice becomes stronger, and your work becomes more meaningful. And that is when people notice you, support you, and want to be part of what you are doing. Because purpose is not only the fuel that drives you, it is also the light that attracts others to your mission. And together, with shared purpose and shared passion, ordinary people can do extraordinary things and truly, powerfully change the world.
Now, my friends, let's talk about something that is a big part of every success story in the world, something that many people are afraid of, and something that sometimes makes people stop chasing their dreams. But if you truly want to become someone who changes your own life and maybe even changes the world, you must understand this one important truth: that failure is not your enemy. Failure is not something that means you are not good enough. Failure is not a sign that you should give up. But failure is actually one of the most powerful teachers in life, because every time you try something and it doesn't work, you are learning, growing, becoming stronger, and building the experience that you need to do better next time. And when we look at the lives of the most successful people in the world, we find that almost all of them failed many times before they finally succeeded.
Exactly, Adam. And sometimes people believe that successful people were just lucky, or that everything they tried worked perfectly the first time. But that's not true at all. In fact, when you study people like Thomas Edison, who failed over 1,000 times before he created a working light bulb, or Walt Disney, who was told he lacked creativity and was even fired from a job before he built his dream company, or even J.K. Rowling, the writer of the Harry Potter books, who was rejected by many publishers before one finally said yes, you begin to see that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. It is the road that almost everyone must walk before they arrive at something amazing. And that's why you should never be afraid to fail. You should be afraid of not trying, of holding yourself back, and of giving up too soon, because each mistake you make, each time you fall, is preparing you for something greater.
Yes, Julia. And it's also important for our listeners to understand that failure is not just about big moments like losing a job or having a business idea not work. Failure can be small too, like not speaking well in English the first time, or not getting the result you hoped for in an exam, or feeling like you're not improving fast enough. But even those small moments are valuable because they give you a chance to reflect, to find what you can do better, and to grow into a more confident, more capable version of yourself. And the people who succeed in life are not the people who never make mistakes. They are the people who learn from every mistake, who don't let fear stop them, and who keep showing up again and again with a strong heart and a brave spirit, because they know that real success is not only about results. It's about effort, it's about character, and it's about never giving up on yourself, no matter how many times you fall.
That's so powerful, Adam. And I think many of our listeners need to hear this message today, that it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to feel unsure or even discouraged sometimes. But what is not okay is letting failure define you or make you believe that you're not smart or not strong or not good enough. Because the truth is, you are already enough just by trying, by growing, and by being brave enough to continue. And when you change how you see failure, when you start to see it as a lesson, as a guide, and as a necessary step in the process, you will begin to feel more confident, more creative, and more fearless in everything you do, whether it's learning English, starting a business, improving your life, or chasing a dream that's been in your heart for years. And remember, even the most beautiful success stories you admire today were once full of chapters that no one saw. Chapters of doubt, of pain, of starting over, but those chapters were the ones that made the ending possible.
So, my dear friends, if there's one thing we want you to remember from this part of the podcast, it's this. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of never trying. Don't be afraid to fall. Be afraid of not getting back up. And don't wait for things to be perfect before you begin, because perfection is not the goal. Progress is, and every time you show up, every time you take action, every time you learn something new, even when it's hard or messy or slow, you are becoming more powerful, more prepared, and more ready for the success that is waiting for you. So trust the journey, believe in your ability to grow, and never, ever stop trying, because the people who change the world are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who never gave up. Today, my friends, we want to talk about something very important, something that many people forget when they think about success and changing the world, because often, when we hear stories about famous people who did amazing things, we imagine that they made one big decision or had one big moment that changed everything. But the truth is that real success is usually not about one big moment. It is about many small actions, small habits, and small choices that are repeated again and again every single day, even when no one is watching, even when it feels boring, and even when the results are not seen immediately, because it is the small, simple things you do every day that build the strong foundation for a powerful life. And it is the little steps, taken consistently over time, that create the big changes you dream about. So if you truly want to become successful and create a positive impact, you need to understand that your daily habits are your secret weapon.
Exactly, Adam. And when we talk about small habits, we mean the things that might seem too easy or too small to matter at first, like waking up early every morning and giving yourself quiet time to think, plan, and prepare for your day, or practicing your English speaking for just 15 minutes a day, or reading a few pages of a good book, or writing down your goals every night before you sleep, or simply choosing to speak kindly to yourself even when you make a mistake. Because these small actions, even though they feel small today, are building your mind, your confidence, your skills, and your future every time you repeat them. And over weeks, months, and years, they grow into something powerful that you cannot even imagine when you first start. And this is why people who master small daily habits often achieve much bigger success than people who only work hard once in a while.
And one of the most inspiring examples of this idea comes from the world of health and fitness. Because if you look at someone who has built a strong, healthy body, you might think they must have done something huge or special. But the truth is that strong bodies are built by small choices, like choosing to exercise a little every day, choosing healthy food most of the time, and choosing not to give up when they feel tired or unmotivated. And in the same way, strong minds, strong skills, and strong careers are also built by small, smart choices repeated again and again. So if you want to become fluent in English, if you want to start a successful business, if you want to build a career that you are proud of, you must focus not only on big dreams, but also on the small, simple habits that bring you closer to your dreams every day. Because habits are like seeds. You plant them today, and with time, care, and patience, they grow into trees that give you fruit for a lifetime.
That's such a powerful image, Adam. And I also want to say to our listeners that sometimes the reason people quit is not because the dream is too big, but because they expect results too quickly. They get discouraged when they do not see big changes fast, and they forget that success is a slow and beautiful process, not a race, and not something that happens overnight. So if you are serious about changing your life, you must fall in love with the process itself, with the small actions you do every day, with the feeling of becoming a little better every week, with the pride that comes from knowing that you are showing up for yourself, even when it is not easy. Because when you start to enjoy the small wins, when you celebrate the little improvements, you will find that your motivation grows, your confidence increases, and your dreams start feeling more possible and more exciting every single day.
Yes, Julia. And I would even say that if you look at the most successful people in any area, whether it is business, sports, education, art, or leadership, you will find that they have a strong respect for daily habits. They understand that talent is important, but habits are what truly separate people who succeed from people who only wish. Because habits create discipline, and discipline creates success. And when you build strong habits, you no longer have to depend only on motivation, because motivation can come and go like the weather. But habits stay strong even when you are tired, when you are stressed, or when you feel like giving up. And that is why habits are one of the most powerful tools you can give yourself on your journey towards success and making a difference in the world.
And maybe some of our listeners are wondering right now, what kind of habits should I build if I want to be successful? And that's such a good question because the truth is, the best habits for you depend on your dreams and your goals. But in general, there are a few habits that almost every successful person practices, like the habit of lifelong learning, which means always finding ways to grow your mind through reading, listening, practicing, and studying. And the habit of goal setting, where you take time every week to plan your goals and track your progress. And the habit of taking care of your body and mind through good sleep, healthy food, and regular exercise. And the habit of positive self-talk, where you encourage yourself instead of criticizing yourself. And finally, the habit of perseverance, the powerful habit of continuing even when things are hard, boring, or slow, because it is not talent that wins the race. It is persistence, patience, and the daily choice to keep going.
And what I love about small habits, Julia, is that they are available to everyone, no matter who you are, where you live, or how much money or experience you have. Because small habits do not need special talent or perfect conditions. They only need your decision, your willingness to begin, and your courage to continue. And even if you feel like you are starting from zero, even if you feel slow or behind compared to others, small habits give you the power to create change in your own life, day by day, moment by moment. And this is why you should never underestimate the power of your small daily actions. Because even if it feels like nothing is happening today, you are actually building momentum, strength, and skills that will surprise you months and years from now when you look back and realize how far you have come.
That's so true, Adam. And I want to remind our listeners that sometimes the most powerful changes happen silently, quietly, deep inside your heart and your mind. And even if nobody claps for you today, even if nobody notices your small steps, they are still worth it because you are not just building a successful future. You are building a stronger version of yourself. Someone who believes in their dreams, someone who trusts the process, and someone who understands that true success is not only about big wins or big awards, but about the quiet courage to get up every day, do the work, take the small steps, and keep the dream alive, even when no one is watching, even when the results take time, even when it feels hard. And that kind of strength is rare, beautiful, and unstoppable.
So, dear listeners, as you finish today's podcast, we want you to remember that you have more power than you think. Not because you can do one big thing today, but because you can start small, stay consistent, and build habits that will change your life, your family, your community, and maybe even the world, because true greatness is not created in a single day. It is created in the small, invisible victories you win every morning when you choose growth over comfort, discipline over laziness, and faith over fear. And if you keep making those small, good choices every day, no matter how ordinary they feel, one day you will look around and realize that you have built something extraordinary. A life full of meaning, purpose, and beautiful impact that will last much longer than anything you ever imagined.
So go out there, dear friends. Take those small steps today. Trust the power of your habits. Believe in the journey even when you cannot see all the answers. And know deep in your heart that every small action you take matters more than you realize. Because when you add up all the small actions with faith, patience, and love, you will create a life story that is strong, beautiful, and unforgettable. A life story that proves that small things done with great love and great consistency really can change the world.
Before we finish today's podcast, we really want to take a few more moments to speak to your heart, dear listeners, because we know that deep inside each one of you, there is a beautiful light, a powerful dream, and a strong spirit that is ready to grow, to shine, and to do something amazing in this world. But sometimes that light can feel small because of fear, because of past failures, because of other people's opinions, or because life gets busy and heavy. But we are here today to remind you that no matter what has happened in your past, no matter how slow your journey feels right now, and no matter how big your dream may seem, you already have inside of you everything you need to begin building the life you desire. And all you have to do is to believe a little more in yourself every day, to act with courage even when you feel afraid, and to keep walking forward even when the road feels hard or uncertain, because it is in those difficult moments that your true strength is born.
That's right, Adam. And I also want to tell you, our amazing listeners, that success is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the best and most honest version of yourself. Because you do not need to copy another person's life or follow someone else's path exactly. Your dreams, your voice, your heart are special and important just as they are. And the world needs people like you who are brave enough to be themselves, who are willing to follow their own dreams even when it is hard, who are willing to rise after falling, and who are willing to believe that even small acts of kindness, small acts of courage, and small steps of hard work can create beautiful changes not just in their own lives, but also in the lives of others. Because in the end, the greatest success is not only what you achieve, but who you become during the journey, how you grow, how you love, and how you inspire others to believe in themselves too.
And if you ever feel lost, if you ever feel tired, if you ever feel like giving up, I want you to remember one simple truth. All the great people who changed the world, all the names we talked about today, they were once beginners too. They were once people who were scared, who made mistakes, who had bad days. But the difference is that they chose to keep going even when no one was watching. They chose to believe even when nobody clapped for them. They chose to work hard even when there was no promise of success. And because they did not give up, they created new paths not only for themselves, but also for millions of others who came after them. And you, my dear listener, have that same powerful choice today to keep going, to keep believing, to keep building, and to trust that everything you are doing today is planting seeds that will one day grow into a beautiful future beyond anything you can imagine.
Exactly, Adam. And as we close this beautiful conversation today, I want you to make a small promise to yourself right now, a promise that no matter how slow it feels, no matter how many obstacles you meet, you will not let fear or doubt or failure steal your dream away, because you are stronger than your fears, you are bigger than your failures, and every single challenge you face is actually a gift that is making you wiser, tougher, and more ready for the great things waiting for you in your future. So close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I believe in my dream, I believe in my journey, and I will never give up. Because when you speak to yourself with love, with hope, and with courage, you create a deep power inside that will carry you through every dark day and will lead you to a life full of light, success, and beautiful victories that will not only make you proud, but will inspire everyone around you too.
So thank you so much for spending this time with us today, for listening with your heart open, and for daring to dream a little bigger, because here at the English Globe, we truly believe in your potential. We truly believe that the future is waiting for your gifts, your ideas, your kindness, and your strength, and we are so proud to be a small part of your journey. So keep walking, keep dreaming, keep believing, and never forget, you are capable of amazing things. You are stronger than you think, and the world is waiting for you to shine.
And as always, dear friends, remember that no dream is too big and no step is too small, because every great journey begins with a single step. So start today, start now, and know that we are cheering for you every step of the way, and we cannot wait to see all the beautiful things you will create, achieve, and become in this wonderful adventure called life.
Thank you for listening to the English Globe, and never stop believing in yourself. See you next time.